Hey everybody, I'm Kai Holmes, and this is Season 1, Episode 8 of NBA Matchups, Ben Wallace versus Charles Barkley. So, remember, we're not just comparing stats. So first what we're going to do is what stood out to me about them. Now, what stood out to me about Ben Wallace is how good he was at defense. He was amazing at defense. He wasn't the best at offense, but he definitely stood out in defense, averaging 2 blocks per game, which is insane. Charles Barkley only averaged 0.8 blocks per game. Now, what stood out to me about Charles Barkley is he would always be able to just find a way to get the ball in, averaging 22.1 points per game, compared to Ben Wallace, who only scored 5.7 points per game. Just because Ben Wallace only scored 5.7 points per game doesn't mean I'm just going to say he's not as good. Obviously, that means he can't score as much, but that's not the only thing that matters. You need to have a good defensive player too, and he was definitely one of those players. Now, Charles Barkley is in the Hall of Fame, Ben Wallace isn't. Now, total points, Charles Barkley has 23,757. Ben Wallace has 6,254. Obviously, Charles Barkley has way more. But now let's do blocks, which is the thing that Ben Wallace is more dominant in. Total blocks is Ben Wallace has 2,137 total blocks. Charles Barkley only has 888, which is not the worst, but it's still way less than Ben Wallace's. Now, Ben Wallace was 6'9", Charles Barkley was 6'6". So those are pretty close. Now, so far everything's pretty equal because Charles Barkley is way more offensive and Ben Wallace is really defensive, but both of them overall are very equal. So this is going to be a really hard decision. Now let's just look at some other stats. Offensive rebounds, Charles Barkley has 4. Ben Wallace, 3.2 offensive rebounds per game. That's really close. Defensive rebounds, Charles Barkley has 7.7 defensive rebounds per game. Ben Wallace has 6.5 defensive rebounds per game. Charles Barkley has 11.7 total rebounds per game. Ben Wallace has 9.6 total rebounds per game. Charles Barkley has 3.9 assists per game. Ben Wallace has 1.3 assists per game. Charles Barkley has 1.5 steals per game. Ben Wallace has 1.3. This is so close so far, and the determining factor for who's going to win is probably going to be career longevity again, because they're so equal so far. Alright, everybody, I'll be back with the career longevity and the winner. Everybody, I'm here with career longevity and the winner again. So Ben Wallace played 16 years in the NBA, while Charles Barkley played 15 years in the NBA, playing 8 of those years for my favorite team, the Philadelphia 76ers. But wait, we don't know who the winner is yet. Just because he played for my favorite team doesn't mean he will get an automatic win. It's got to be fair. So the way that I'm going to look at this is Ben Wallace, his skills were defensive. Charles Barkley's was offensive. Now, to me, I think that I would value Ben Wallace more because defensive skills, to me, they're rarer than offensive skills, because you can name countless players that played in the NBA that have scored, 22.1 points per game, but you can't name as many that have got like 2 blocks per game and who have blocked Shaquille O'Neal. And I think that Ben Wallace should be the winner then. So there's that crown. Everybody, this is the end of the video. Hope you guys have a good day. See ya.